It's day 2 of the annual Western Cape Indigenous Games Festival. A total of 750 players, technical officials, coaches and managers are participating in the games. They're competing in 9 indigenous codes, which also include driver, Stokkies, stick fighting, as well as Morabaraba. Now, the finals for all codes and the closing ceremony will take place on Thursday. SABC News reporter Mariska Botha has more.
It is very exciting. When you talk about sport, you always think of cricket, rugby, soccer. But there's actually a vibrant, separate community playing indigenous games. Behind me, they're just taking a break right now. The game is 7 minutes aside. It's called Coko. It's a traditional game of cat and mouse. But to talk to us about these heritage games, we've got Pilasande Makhuli, and he's the Deputy Director of Recreation Sport Development in the Western Cape Government. Mr. Makhuli, thank you so very much for your time. While they're taking a break here, first of all, what is the purpose of these Indigenous Games?
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for this briefing and interview. The Indigenous Games themselves are really a type of activities that are to celebrate our heritage. They are also to ignite and give that vibration of the spirit from the previous years where these games were played right at our backyard after school. Kids used to come back and they play these type of activities to actually build their social skills. And now these games were brought back in South Africa because of the fact that to run sport properly, you need larger facilities, you need proper equipment, you need proper attire, and that is very expensive. And we know the economy right now is not doing so well. So Indigenous Games are a perfect fit because you need a smaller facility, you need the equipment that is not specialized but is homemade, and it is something that you can do at any leisure time. And that is the purpose, to ignite, but also to celebrate our heritage through these Indigenous Games.
It's beautiful. There they're just starting. You and I are going to step out of shot while we're shown the game of Coko, right? Cat and mouse. Just in brief, explain to us what our viewers are looking at.
Well, what we're looking at here is a game of Coko. You can call it cat and mouse, you can call it cat and mace. And many of the viewers would know this game that we used to play it in a circle. And now it is played in a straight line and with more rules, but that is to make sure that when we play together, we understand the purpose and we understand who is out and who is not out, and also to determine the winner at the end of the day. And cat and mouse is a strategic game. It helps with the strategy, the build-up, and the discipline. Because if you're not disciplined, you're going to lose points. If you're disciplined, you will actually gain points. So it's a strategic game, it's a running game, and it's also a game that you can actually take to the next level. We've got 9 codes of Indigenous Games, and this is one of the codes that if Indigenous Games has to turn professional one day, this is one of the codes that will do that first. Because firstly, it has got all the bells and whistles for a professional sporting code, like the American football. It is indigenous to the Americans, but here we'll have cat and mace that is indigenous to South Africans, but it can make these youngsters, their future generation, the superstars of South Africa through an Indigenous Games code. And that is what excites us about this game. 7 minutes aside, 14 minutes altogether, and the game is done in 15 minutes. You don't want to miss the action, because when you miss it, nobody's going to replay it for you.
It's a beautiful sentiment. Talk to us about the other sporting codes as well, because it sounds very old school. Jukskei and klippies and skip rope and all of that. Talk to us a little bit about that. I saw a very large contingent of youngsters participating. So it seems like there's a need for this kind of thing. Would you agree?
Indeed. When we go to these different activities of Indigenous Games, in South Africa we've got 9 codes. And it's Dibeke, which is Kululu. And it's a running, kicking, throwing, dodging kind of a game. Also very strategic in a way, but it also needs fitness and flexibility. All of them are contributing to the health, because our department is about promoting a healthy lifestyle, building resilience amongst participants. So Dibeke is one of the codes. You've got Diketo, which you call clippers. It's a clip khachi, and you throw a goon, and you must take your 10 stones out of the hole, and you bring back 9 and leaving 1 outside. Also a strategy game and a counting game. And then we've got 3 Stokkies, which is similar to your triple jump and long jump. But that one, the 2 sticks on the outer ends, they are the only sticks that move. The one in the middle does not move. And we're looking for the longest jumper and the last man or woman standing. Also a strategy, fitness, and the skill of how you jump. And then we've got Indonga. Many people call it stick fighting. I like to call it a display of the skills for defense and offense, which also teaches you a lot of discipline and a lot of arts and culture, artistic part of it. And then we've got Jukskei, which is coming from the old four-trackers that used to do farming. And when they take a break from farming and plowing, they would take the ox skeis and then they would start playing a game, and that's how Jukskei was developed. It's a very strategic game, and you also do a lot of counting there. And then we've got, after Jukskei, a game called Khati. It's one of those exciting codes. I think the crew filmed Khati earlier on. They're playing on the far end. It's a rope skipping game. And it's exciting, it's exhilarating. They're singing, they're dancing, and they are doing a lot of movement, fitness and flexibility, rhythm and rhyme. Then after Khati, we've got Coko, which is just behind us. And then we've got 2 more, Morabaraba, it's a board game. And Nuva, it's also a board game, strategy and mathematics skills for the youngsters.
Thank you so very, very much, Philasande Makhuli there speaking to us about, he's very passionate about this, and it's so much fun to stand here and watch this. And the intensity with which these games are played is fascinating. We saw youngsters and older people, it's beautiful. And certainly something like this deserves a greater platform. And we understand it's the 20th year that these Indigenous Games, this gathering is taking place. This year there won't be any nationals because it was an Olympic year, but the provincial the codes are being played in the different provinces to celebrate and simply enjoy the tradition that's been lasting for so long and that is starting to become formalized now. And we hope, like Mr. Makhuli said, some of these games will one day be played at a national and hopefully an international level.